Hey everyone, how's it going? It's Joe here. So today I'm going to go through a review of my kit and my setup and all the gear I use to do my videos. I've had a few questions on various videos on my channel asking what settings do I use on the kit within my videos, how I record the audio and video. So I'm basically just going to go through that and the other little bits that I use as well. So as you can see in front of me, I have my Roland TD25 and it's the KV model, which means it comes with an additional CY12 crash cymbal, and it comes with the upgraded toms as well, the upgraded tom pads. I also have an additional CY12 cymbal, which is plugged into the extra trigger input, so there's two extra trigger inputs on the module itself. There's Crash 2 input, which is for the KV model, so obviously this crash, and then another trigger input which you can basically put anything you want in. You can put another trigger bar or another tom pad, additional snare over here, another cymbal as I've done. I went for the other cymbal because this is kind of what I have at least on my acoustic setup. I do tend to have more. That's just me, but unfortunately I can only get, this is the closest to it, and it does for me. So that's why I went for the other cymbal here. I'll go through a bit of my hardware. So as you can see down here, I have my Mapex Falcon double pedal and Mapex Falcon hi-hat stand, two-legged hi-hat stand. They basically, I've wanted them for ages, ever since I set eyes on them, really. I started off with the basic Mapex hardware. I think it was the P500 double pedal and hi-hat stand, and they served me well for years. Never had a problem with them once. They still work now. I sold them on, but they're in great working condition, so great hardware. And I just wanted to upgrade basically, and I did that last year, and I'm really happy with the results. They're great, really nice and smooth. The two-legged hi-hat stands are just a great invention. I hated the third leg coming over the double pedal. It's hard to play and it's not comfortable, so genius. Obviously you can get very, there's a lot of models of different two-legged hi-hat stands, but I just kept with the same brand, Mapex. Suits me. I also have the throne I'm sitting on is a Carmichael Throne, and they're a company based in the States. I don't believe anywhere in Europe actually stocks them. I think you have to buy direct from them. I could be wrong on that, but I couldn't find anywhere, so I just went direct to them. And basically they specialise in ergonomic seating and thrones, so they do like office chairs and like draftsman chairs, but they also do drum thrones as well, and quite a few established artists use them. And basically what they do is they're designed to take all the pressure off your lower back. And as you can imagine, when you're sitting at the drums for a while, it does tend to hurt, and when you stand up, I personally, I get quite a bit of pain. It's uncomfortable if I'm on a standard drum stool, and I've had quite a few problems with my lower back, and this has solved them massively. Basically, I'll show you it. There is a good, I think it's about 3 inches cut out of the middle of it, and what that does is when you sit down in it, this area where your lower back, the middle of your lower back would sit, it basically just like floats over the top, so there's no direct pressure on your back, and it solves so much pain and problems. You see there's the logo, and you get a rock and sock bass if you buy the full steel, so really sturdy, really heavy. You can buy just the tops of them to fit standard bass, but to be honest I just went with the full package. With them being from America as well, there is, they're not cheap anyway. It's a good sturdy throne. A good sturdy throne isn't cheap anywhere. So it's about the same as what you would pay for a really great throne over here. The problem is with shipping. Be warned, if you do get one, the shipping costs are quite high as well. But it's what you'd expect. It's a heavy item. It's a bulky item. You're gonna have to pay for it. But to me, it's an investment. It's something I'll use for years. I'll probably never go back to a normal throne. I will always use these. They're fantastic. And when you've got to think about it. When you're sat behind a kit, you've really got to make sure you're comfortable. You don't want injuries, and you don't want injuries further down the line because you've not had suitable equipment. And I'm not saying normal drum phones are bad. They suit some people, most people, but for people like me, these do it. And I'll as I said, I'll never go back. You find them online, Carmichael.com or Carmichael. I think it's Carmichael.com. Sorry, I don't know off the top of my head, but I'll put the link in the description. You can check them out. This is the 15-inch version that I've got. Okay, so I also use my in-ears, which are these Shure SE215s. I think these are like the base model of their in-ear headphones, and I got them because for when I'm mainly playing acoustic kit, I really like to hear the sounds of the other instruments. And to be honest, I absolutely detest a massive speaker next to you. I think it's awful. Personally, I prefer direct sound in my ears that I can control. So I also have my own little mixing desk when I'm playing live. Plug these into it, and I also just plug direct in from all the amps of the bands I'm playing with, and it allows me to just create my own mix, and it's great. And these serve purpose. You can get upgraded models, go up to a few £100. To be honest, I don't need to invest in those right now. These do the job. They're great. Get a nice little protective pouch in them as well, which is cool. Sticks I use are these Promarks, and these are the American Hickory Natural TXR5AW. And basically, natural means they're in a natural finish, so they're not lacquered, so they're not like a smooth finish. They're a little bit rougher. And to be honest, I prefer that grip when I'm playing. I tend to, as disgusting as it is, I tend to get sweaty hands when I play. There's been many a time where I've flung a stick. Normally hits a lead singer, and I'm sorry about that. And I imagine that hurts. So yeah, I invested in these, but I also tend to use now as well when I'm playing live this stick wrap as well. Again, it just solves so many problems. It gives you a really good grip. I've probably only dropped a stick once or twice because of really bad technique, not because my hands were sweaty. So yeah, that's really good stuff too. And then that's it really. So gear wise, as you see here, cameras. I use these, which are SJCAMs. I think they're the 4000 model, and they're 1080p HD. And essentially, they are a really, really cheap version of a GoPro. It doesn't mean they're really bad because they're really cheap. For me, GoPros, yeah, they're wicked. They're great for all the the live sort of action sports. Capturing those things, they're great. And I know a lot of drummers on YouTube use them as well. That's wicked. I can't fault them. They're brilliant cameras. For me, it was just price. I wanted at least 3 or 4 cameras. I ended up investing in 4. But I couldn't justify spending that much for the setup I'm in now. If I was in sort of a professional studio setup, professional lighting and things, yeah, I'd probably invest in the GoPros. But I'm not. I'm doing this from home. Not to say that quality should suffer from that, but I couldn't justify spending probably over £1,000 for the latest GoPros. And I can get them second hand as well, for a couple of £100 probably. But that's still a few £100s that I couldn't afford to spend that on cameras. So I opted for these, and they're a really good alternative. I'm not sure how much they are now, but they were about £50 each, which is an absolute steal really compared to a GoPro. As I said, yes, okay, they do suffer in quality in certain areas, but for me, I don't see a problem with them for what I'm doing. I think they're perfect for it really. They're really good. So I use 4 of them. Battery life's probably just over an hour or so, which to be honest is great for these covers. If you're shooting a few cover videos, that's more than enough time for those. There's just a standard little micro SD card you can pop in them and record, and away you go. They're great. I also use these, as you can see, goosenecks clamps here, which is what GoPros use GoPros basically as well. I use 4 of them, dead adjustable. I can get all the angles I want. Perfect really. And then to record the audio, I record the audio directly out of the TD25 module, which is a unique feature for electronic kits. This is the first kit to be able to do this, to record the sounds directly out of the module onto a USB stick, so you're not having to use MIDI. You can use MIDI. For me, I'm not like a massive technophobe. I know MIDI's not that hard, but I like really simple things. It's just the way I work. So to me, this was like the unique selling point, and this is why I got this kit more than anything, really. I always wanted a Roland. I would have loved the TD30s. Again, slightly on my price range, but you weren't able to do this on them either. So this is what's great about the TD25, and it is beautifully laid out. It's so simple to use. I can't fault it. I would thoroughly recommend anyone to buy this if they were thinking about it. So basically, as you can see, I've just got a USB stick plugged in. You plug it in, it formats for the first time, and then basically you're ready to go. How I run my audio in, you can put the audio tracks onto the USB stick and play them through the module. If you want to do that, you can loop sections and learn sections. Really useful and handy. I tend to just use the audio input cable socket, and I just run that to my phone, play the music out of my phone into there, and just play along with it. So yeah, I can just control it from my phone basically, and that's just because I have all my music on my phone. It's dead simple for me. I can just chop and choose which song I want to play along to. So that works for me. That's how I do it. So now I'm going to talk about how I use the module and the sounds I use, and also how I record the audio. I'll go through how I record the audio in a bit at the end when I actually start playing the kit. So basically, to adjust the sounds of the module and of each pad, you have 4 different options at the top. Okay, so you have the ability to change the instrument on each pad, the tuning, the muffling, and the level. Okay, so I'll go through them individually, one by one, and then at the end I'll play through them individually, and then I'll play a bit of the kit overall, so you can see what the overall sound sounds like. Okay, so the first one, if I press the instrument button here and hit this pad, the hi-hat. It's a 14-inch session hi-hat. I have the tuning, which on cymbals is the size. I have it set at 14-inch. The sustain on the hi-hat is just 0. You can't change the sustain on that. And the level is 96. Moving up here, I have this crash cymbal here, which is the crash cymbals are all dual zone. So you have the edge and the bow. And the ride cymbal is a 3-zone, which is the bell, bow, and the edge. So this crash cymbal up here is a 18-inch dark crash. I have the size kept at 18-inch, the sustain at 10, and the level at 106. The ride cymbal, I have a 22-inch custom ride. It is still at a 22-inch on the tuning. The sustain is 4, and the level is 114. The crash cymbal over here is a 16-inch dark crash, 18-inch. I've just adjusted the size anyway, so it's still a dark crash. This is a 20-inch dark crash I've got set up over here with a sustain of 10 and a level of 104. And then over here I have my china, which is an 18-inch smooth china. I've kept it at 18 inches. Sustain of 8 and level of 110. I have on a couple of videos used a different cymbal over here. 2 videos I changed it on was the Slash World on Fire cover. I changed this to a different crash. I didn't want to try something that didn't really warrant it, and I preferred the crash sound for that one. And then also on my I think it's the Little Mix of Missy Elliott cover, How You Doing, I changed that to a stack sound, I didn't want a China in that, I just wanted something really short and sharp, which I think I used to the end of the song. So yeah, that's really the only times I've changed it. Other than that, it stays as a China, so that's generally what I have set up on my acoustic kit, like that sound. Okay, so the snare is a cross stick solid maple. So by the cross stick sound, you get the rim sound. On the edge, you can just have it set as a standard snare without the cross stick. But I like to have that in there if I want to use it. So I have this set at tuning +10. I have the muffling off, and I have the level at 120. The toms, it has the function to group these. So when you hit one, you can hit group like that, and you can change everything in unison at the same time. I chose not to do that. I do have the same type of toms, but I think I have different settings on each one. So we'll start with this first tom here. Okay, so it's a 12-inch solid maple, tuning of +10, muffling is tape 1, and the level is 110. The next one is a 13-inch solid maple tom. The tuning is -10. The muffling is tape 1, and the level is 104. And down here, the floor tom, it's a 16-inch solid maple. I have the tuning at -40, so it's a really low sound. I really like a low sounding floor tom. Muffling tape 1, and the level is 104. Now, you'll see that my toms and snare are maple. I don't actually have a maple acoustic kit, but on this I really like the maple sound. It's kind of my ideal sound, really. It's just lovely. However, instead of a maple bass drum, I really like really boomy, powerful bass drums that give a real thud and a kick. So on this, I actually opted for a power birch bass drum. It is, I kept it at, let me see, kept it at 22. Yep, so it's just a 22 power birch. The tuning is at 0, so not altered anything on that. The muffling is off, so it's really open sounding, and the level is 100. And that's, to be honest, what I've played with from day one on that. It's something I've never actually really changed. As soon as I heard that, I was like, that's the bass drum sound I want on this kit. Everything else I've sort of tweaked and played around with quite a lot. So they're the settings for everything individually. And what I also do have is, if you go into menu and kit, the reverb type I have is Studio 1. There's various different types of reverb. Just twist the instrument knob there that's flashing. You can go through different reverb types, but I prefer Studio 1. Okay, so now I'm going to give you a taster of the sounds of the kit individually and as a whole. And what I'll mention here is how I record, because this is what I'll have to do now. I'll record the audio for you. So basically, once you've got your memory stick in, to record, you start, playing your audio, whatever. You start recording first. I tend to record first, so this is off, going off, and then I'll start my audio when I'm ready. So all you do is, on the bottom left-hand corner here, you have a record button, which you press, and it comes up audio record, standby. And then to start recording, you simply just press the flashing button here, which is the green stop and play button. So as soon as you start hitting that, it starts recording. As soon as you start hitting any of the drums, it records the sounds of the drums. So you actually are getting the sounds of the drums. It's not MIDI, it's not a drum program, it is the pure sounds of the Roland module, which is just fantastic, really. I'll just stop that there for a second. Before I go into those recording sounds, I'll just show you these down here, what I have. Back in whatever you've got plugged in, like my audio, just adjust the level of. The master volume is about halfway, it's just my preference, suits me. And then the bass is just over halfway, it's between halfway and 3/4 of the way around. And the treble is about 3/4 of the way around. And that's really it, to be honest. That's my kit. So now I will give you some sounds. Hope you like it. there you have it. There's my kit. There's my settings. I hope that's enough information for everybody, but if there's any other questions, please just post them on the video below and I'll do my best to answer them. Okay, thanks for watching. See you later.